This video now addresses our second burden, establishing substantive evidence of genocidal intent. We must determine if the applicant shows plausible evidence of intent under the 1948 Genocide Convention. The core question is whether the facts meet Article 2C. We look for conditions calculated to be physically destructive and substantive evidence of specific genocidal intent. The Article 2C standard clarifies that genocide includes acts like starvation, denial of essential goods, forced displacement, and the systematic destruction of living conditions. Lemkin's principle highlights the composite nature of genocide. It encompasses both cultural and physical destruction, and is not limited solely to the immediate killing of a group. The blockade represents systematic deprivation. Food, medicine, and fuel supplies were cut off. This created intentional, artificial starvation conditions, directly targeting the civilian population. The September 2023 assault marks an escalation of destruction. Infrastructure was destroyed, evacuation routes were cut, and the territory was rendered uninhabitable. The result was a forced exodus and mass displacement, with 100,000 Armenians displaced. Since there is no safe return, the community has effectively been erased from its homeland. ICJ Precedent 1, Bosnia, established that genocide can be proven through patterns of action, including creating conditions where survival is impossible. Intent is inferred from these systematic actions. Bosnia matters because it established a legal precedent for modern conflict. A blockade combined with an assault constitutes a genocidal pattern, recognizing starvation as a genocidal act, which supports our Article 2C claim. ICJ Precedent 2, Croatia, expanded jurisprudence, confirming that cultural destruction and forced displacement are relevant to establishing genocidal intent. Genocide includes destroying a group's ability to exist. Applying the Croatia precedent to Artsakh, we see cultural sites were targeted, the population was removed, and infrastructure was destroyed. ICJ Precedent 3, Myanmar, shows evolving thresholds of intent. Forced displacement meets plausibility, the destruction of villages is relevant, and the denial of essentials is considered genocidal. Myanmar matters because the Artsakh parallels, blockade, starvation, and exodus, align with similar claims accepted by the ICJ, supporting the plausibility threshold. ICJ Precedent 4, Bosnia PM, established the conduct-based doctrine. Intent may be inferred from conduct, and patterns of action matter more than statements. Systematic harm is evidence of intent. The Bosnia PM precedent is critical because the combination of blockade and deprivation demonstrates a systematic pattern. Intent is inferred from these repeated acts, supporting the applicant's burden of proof. ICJ Precedent 5, Southwest Africa, highlights the obligations of a mandatory power. Systematic discrimination and the destruction of living conditions are actionable, recognizing structural harm. This precedent is relevant because the blockade in Artsakh represents structural deprivation, and the systematic destruction of infrastructure supports a conditions of life argument, mirroring the issues in Southwest Africa. The totality of destructive acts creates a combined effect, encompassing physical destruction, cultural destruction, and territorial cleansing. This pattern demonstrates genocidal intent. The applicant's burden of proof is satisfied. Article 2C is plausibly met, and ICJ precedents support the claim. The case merits a full hearing based on the established threshold for plausibility. Ultimately, genocide is measured by patterns, not moments. The systematic nature of the actions, the blockade, the destruction, and the forced displacement establishes the plausible genocidal intent required by the court.